Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Factorio here in our step-by-step to Megabase series. I'm really excited for today's episode. I've been preparing for this a long time, many hours have been invested in this next module. In case you missed the previous episode, today we're gonna dedicate planning out the mega module that is gonna produce up to 450 science packs per minute only using our current resources here. Now you might have noticed I removed quite a few belts that were all going up because I rearranged it so they go to the right side and they will go throughout the module in order to supply all the materials we require. Now the first thing I would like to do is set up a blueprint here that consists out of floor, a couple of walls, and we can set it up right here. This is basically giving me a floor plan of how the thing is going to look. So if we check this out, this is going to be the entire size of the mega module, including the science labs. And here come my Spidertrons, my Buildertrons. I might have to fill them up with a bit more of the good stuff here. So maybe let's bump this up a little bit for each Spidertron. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to build a couple more of these. So yeah, this is going to be my first goal, to build all of this floor in order to remember where I wanted to set up each of the crafting chains. Here are my Spidertrons. They're now being resupplied and it's time to set up another one. So I should be able to just get it from this chest. Let's do maybe 2 more. And I'm copying over whatever I have for the other guys. And just like that, we have 2 more Buildertrons with all these materials. Okay, looks like they are all following. This is good. Are we already full? Yeah, look at that. We have all of these floor materials still available. So I'm guessing we'll just have to take a couple of trips in order to actually get somewhere. Oh, this guy didn't get any of the grid stuff. That's not good. Well, I mean, I do have stuff with me, so that's no problem. Okay, wow. Check this out. I just love it. This is gonna be amazing. Guys, you have no idea. So much research and development went into it, and I was debugging it for like 3 hours before I got the satisfying output that I wanted to see. This thing is gonna be tuned to the max. But yeah, just give me a couple of minutes and I'm gonna make some progress here. Alrighty, we are back and you can see I laid the bare foundations. There is still a lot of concrete that we have to build. Everything that you can see outlined here in refined hazard concrete is going to be reserved for beacon spots. The top portion here is going to be dedicated to red circuits. Then we have a bunch of low density structures. Here at the bottom, we're going to process the green circuits, then a couple of blue circuits, some other stuff that I cannot really remember. Then we have the fuel right here, rocket fuel, and right there in the center is the spot for the rocket. And all of this upper portion right here is going to be dedicated to the various science packs. Now, I planned this out quite carefully. So there was one issue that I wanted to fix in today's episode, and that is where to get the material. So imagine, for instance, we're going to require some copper here and then maybe 2 lines of stone. Maybe we're going to need some copper and iron here. Then maybe we need some coal for each of these lines because we do process some plastic bars in the beginning. So this was very quickly becoming extremely hard. So I decided to actually develop this pattern in my test world and copy it over because there was no way I could actually make a coherent episode about building these belts. In terms of how many belts we need, I also upped that a little bit. So we're going to be needing all 8 belts of the iron, then all 12 belts of the copper. We're going to be using 3 steel belts, 3 coal belts, also 3 stone belts, then 2 sulfur belts, and a whole bunch of pipes naturally. This is the solution I came up with in order to sort all of the belts and materials to exactly where I need them, so we can go ahead and use the modules right away. So without any further ado, let's try to get this placed right here. And we can see what this is going to be made up of. Oh yes, this is going to be a building feast. Did I not order them? Wait, why aren't you... Ah, okay, they started doing it. That's more like it. Just follow me. We're going to get all of these belts built. There are actually quite a few belts in there. And then I also introduced other stuff right here, which is a 4-to-3 belt balancer. This way we can make sure to more or less evenly use up the stations. So you can already see what I tried to do here. I tried to keep it straight as long as possible, but then of course some intersections will have to be done. But you will see this is actually quite a nice design when it comes to distributing the materials. I mean, it is not an easy task to do that. Let me actually get all of this built and then we'll start to distribute the various resources so you can actually see the idea behind it. Alright, looks like we actually managed to finish all of the belts. This is really good news. The materials should be going to where they need to go. I made a save game just in case I screwed up a little bit. Let's see, maybe we can just make a little temporary blueprint here. It would be nice to see all the materials go at the same time. So we get rid of the rails, yeah? Create that blueprint. And now I should be able to build all of this at more or less the same time. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's do that. Build all of the belts as quickly as possible. And you can see the materials are starting to distribute. Oh yes, this is what I like to see. Oh my gosh. I've actually never seen it like this. I can barely get it on the screen, but all the materials should find their respective place to go. And then we can just feed it into the contraptions. We have some steel continuing here. Here we have a line combining together. And all of this is going to continue. The empty lines right here are going to be filled up with electronic circuits. And then right here we have a 2 to 6 coal splitter. This is going to feed each of the individual chemical plants. We have some iron and sulfur in order to create sulfuric acid. And then of course we also need sulfur here at the top. This is going all the way over together with the other materials in order to start crafting the science packs. And then of course down here more stuff is going to be happening. But basically these are all the raw ingredients we are going to require in order to build everything that is necessary to sustain a maximum of 450 packs per minute. Right here we have a couple of convoluted lines, but those are necessary to actually distribute the materials the correct way. During the debugging phase I had to fine-tune a lot of materials, but now it is perfect in terms of ratios. Well, at least in terms of not underproducing. Everything is producing enough to get that output that I want. But with all the materials distributed, the next step would be to get into actually building these modules. So why don't we go ahead and get started with that? Right here, I reserved the space for a couple of chemical labs. These are going to be the production lines for the advanced circuits. So what we need is, of course, plastic bars. And 2 of these guys are going to be enough to supply the entire road that we can see here. I also already want to fill these guys up with a bunch of modules. Actually, let's wait with the modules. I'm going to add the beacons first, and then we just keep it at a low profile in terms of power requirements because we haven't really prepared for that. But eventually, of course, we're going to have a whole bunch of speed beacons right here, and they're going to just make everything better and much quicker. And then we're going to fill all of the machines up with productivity modules where we can, and then maybe sometimes with speed modules. But without any further ado, let's keep going. We're going to be requiring quite a few machines here. And even for the low density structures, some of these are necessary. Then we also need more chemical labs right here. And they're actually going to be turned around. So they look this way, 4 of them. And they're going to be fed with, let me see, this is, maybe we can already get this rolling. Yeah, I just need to hook up the pipe here. We have petroleum, light oil, some lubricant, and this would be water. So now we can see we will actually need the water in order to get these chemical labs going. Maybe I can get my Spidertrons to actually do it. This way we can set up the recipe. This is going to be sulfuric acid. And of course it also requires iron plates and sulfur, which you can see we have available. So all we have to do is hook up the inserters here. That is already one thing out of the way that we can make use of later. Now, I know I should finally set up something for the water, but what you gonna do? Let's just get an offshore pump in the joint for the time being. But obviously, this is not what I want to keep. And now I would say the rest we can probably just fill up with crafting assemblers. There are gonna be a couple of these here, and the rest of them are gonna be the advanced circuits. So we can already set up this recipe, advanced circuits for all of you guys. Then let me see. There are 2 pairs for the electronic circuits. So we need to craft some copper cables and then electronic circuits, and then do another set of copper cables and electronic circuits. And then as a matter of fact, I'm gonna also be needing copper cables here. So I don't think this is actually meant to be that. Let's set this to copper cables and this one as well. And 2 of these are gonna be delivered to the advanced circuits. So in the end, we're gonna be ending up with 12 assemblers just dedicated for the advanced circuits. Now let's copy this over for the next row. We're just going to be doing that, that, and that. Then we have all of our advanced circuits that we need for the entirety of the build. Good, let's keep going with the next 2 rows. If I'm not mistaken, this is just pure low density structure. Copper plates, steel plates, and plastic bars. Yeah, there we go. Just low density structures. And we're gonna have these all the way up to there. Copy this over another row, and this should be all the low density structures we need. Next up, we have the module that is gonna provide most of the electronic circuits, the normal ones. Some of them we are crafting in other modules, as you can see. But right now we need a couple of machines right here. The upper row are gonna be copper cables, and the lower row is reserved for the electronic circuits. If we use a couple of modules inside of them, the ratio actually becomes a little bit different, and we can go with one copper cable machine versus one electronic circuit machine. Come on guys, do me the favor and build all of this stuff. That would be great. Thank you. So upper row copper cables, let's copy that over for all of them, and then the lower row electronic circuits. Next up, we have the rocket silo right here. Next to it, obviously, we're gonna have the satellites that we need to provide. Then on this side, I'm actually producing radars, which we need to build the satellites. I'm also going to reserve 2 spots for the solar panels, and then 2 additional spots for the accumulators, which we also need for the satellite. These 2 solar panels, and then these 2, well, that's not accumulator right there. In order to build these, yeah, I'm also going to be needing some gears that I'm going to build here. And then I think to supplement this in the debugging phase, I estimated that we also need additional electronic circuits. So I'm guessing this is going to be the copper cable, this the electronic circuit, and then this would be the gears. Wonderful. Now we already have quite a big portion of the requirements out of the way. We are producing electronic circuits, we are producing low density structures, we are producing some stuff for the satellite, and the advanced circuits are also taken care of. This was a big hassle, but there are other main materials that we need lots of, such as rocket fuel and control units. So this portion right here at the bottom is the next thing we want to set up. Okay, let me think about this briefly. I believe right here I reserved some space to build batteries. So this should all be set to batteries. Thank you. And we want to continue, let me see, with a whole bunch of assemblers crafting the processing units. So all of these processing units, then we are going to need a whole bunch. Oh man, this is going to be a huge endeavor. So right here we have 2 entire rows only crafting the rocket control units. So all of these and then all of these are going to craft that. In order to craft the control units, we need some speed modules, which I'm gonna do here at the very bottom. So that would be a speed module 1, luckily only module 1. Here at the very bottom, we have 2 entire rows just reserved for the rocket fuel. So we want to craft rocket fuel right here. All of these and then all of those. Next up, we have some more chemical labs. These ones are going to craft the solid fuel out of light oil, and they're going to be located right here. And then of course, one more row right there. Okay, very nice. This is already looking respectable. By the way, in the background, I'm building some more solar panel arrays. I estimated in order to support one of these modules, we need actually 36 of these. This is the reason why I'm actually starting to switch to nuclear power as well. And you noticed an error that I made since I set up the 2 resources in the same wagon. What we have to do is set up a wait condition here still. So just for the loading process, I'm gonna say inactivity, but I'm gonna bump this up to at least a minute or so, because even a couple of seconds would probably be enough with the amount we are actually shipping. But this way it's now actually going back into the station here and it's gonna be unloaded, okay? And then of course we will be taking care of those next. Either way, we can keep going a little bit right here on the right side next to the science module. Of course, we are crafting all of the science packs. Let's maybe get started here at the very top. I decided to set up a couple more of the red science packs so I could get rid of a row of beacons and make the module slightly smaller. So these are going to be red science packs. Then we continue with the green science packs here. We don't need quite as many because they have double the amount of beacons. Next up, of course, we have the military one. This is going to go here. After military comes the chemical science pack. This one here requires the most assemblers, but that is absolutely fine. At least I believe Maybe something here in the front. I'm not sure yet. Let's go ahead, continue with the next one. That would be the production science pack. And this one actually requires 2 rows because it requires so many rails that I had to make 2 full belts. And then, of course, here at the very end, we have the utility science pack. And then the white science packs are going to come from the rocket. So maybe that is another thing we can already set up. Of course, here we have all of the science modules. And I believe it's 4 times 5. Yeah, it's exactly 20 modules. That is going to be enough to consume 450 science packs a minute. Even with the slowest research, of course, everything needs to be beaconed up. Let's also order a bunch of science labs. I think I still have to add that to the queue though. No, actually I already ordered them, but they don't have it because I don't have it in my crafting system. And then of course we also need to add the rocket silo to the crafting system. So rocket silo and science lab. Let's quickly take care of those 2 things. Now, believe it or not, we are actually almost done. Just a couple more machines that we need to place. First and foremost, I noticed this first assembler here is supposed to be a gear, iron gear assembler. Anyway, let's keep going. Right here, we need a bunch of electronic circuits as well as gears. Right here, copper cables, electronic circuits, and gears. And then we have everything ready to build the transport belt and the inserter, which we're gonna do right here and there. On the top, I'm gonna do the transport belt, and at the bottom, the inserter. Good. What are we gonna need for the military ones? Just walls, grenades, and piercing round magazines. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We first build the normal magazines, then the piercing round magazines, then 3 grenades. Let me actually set that up. So normal magazine, then piercing round, and 3 grenades. Next up, we're gonna need a whole bunch of furnaces that I'm gonna place here. Then, yeah, look at that. We actually have way too many of these. What we need is walls. So this should be switched to walls. I'm gonna do that for the first 2 assemblers. And then only 5 are gonna be for the military science one. Okay, so we also got that row out of the way. Let's continue with the blue one, which requires sulfur, advanced circuits, and engine units. The only thing we really have to worry about are the engine units. Those I'm gonna build right here, and we need a couple of these, but not too many. I'm gonna leave 3 assemblers, no, only 2 for other materials, namely for the iron gear wheels and the pipes. So we need those gear wheels and then also the pipes. Where are you? Right there. And this way we can craft everything that is necessary for the blue science pack except for the sulfur that we are getting from here. And of course also the advanced circuits. Good. The next science pack is going to be production, rails, electronic furnace, and productivity module. For the rails we need to dedicate a little bit of space because they require so many materials and we get such a large output. This is just absolutely insane. You fill up the belts quite easily with just one machine. So both of these are going to be building the rails, and then in order to build the rails we need these iron sticks, which we're going to craft here. Next up, if you remember, the productivity module that we're going to build right here. I left a little bit of space for an additional beacon. This was added in the debugging phase when I realized that I needed a little bit more. Then we have one spot reserved here to craft the furnaces themselves, and then of course we need a bunch of furnaces to smelt up the stone. So those would be going right there. Wonderful. Now let me think, what did we need? Of course, right here we have the utility science packs, so they require some flying robot frames. This is probably what I have planned out for this spot. Some flying robot frames coming along. And then of course in order to build those we still need electric engine units, so they're going to be built right there. 4 assemblers dedicated to those. And with that out of the way we have placed all of the necessary machines. Of course they are not going to function just like that. We need to belt everything up. We need to add a whole bunch of inserters, power lines. And then at the very end, when we are certain that we can actually provide all the raw ingredients, then we are going to beacon it up. Okay guys, I started to hook up the first few things. I already recorded it, but then I realized just how long this episode would be if I actually did all in one episode. I don't know what I was thinking. So I think I got out of the way what I wanted to get clear in today's episode, and that is the entire layout and the foundation, every single item, the amount of machines and the entire item distribution is already out of the way. So now as a next step, we can just go ahead and easily hook up everything. So I'm gonna be including this part that I just made in the next episode. I hope you can understand that, but I will have to divide this up in multiple steps. So with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode and you're also looking forward to the completed module. Have a great time and hopefully I'm going to catch you in the next one. Bye bye.